Welcome back to Hot Mess Espresso. We kind of have a double shot of espresso today. We have Haleigh Hayhurst on the podcast today, who is the owner of Espresso Podcast Production and also the host of Podcast Cafe and Employee to Boss. So we have a lot to get into. So let's just dive right into it. What is up, Haleigh?
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I had to have you the second that we were on Threads and I saw espresso and I was like, another one.
I know, it was like destiny. Like we absolutely had to. And we were both saying we just made our
I know,
coffees, like we
we
have
have our
them.
espresso.
We're ready to go.
We are on brand today. Also, what are you drinking?
Yep.
Because you were telling me about it and I'm obsessed.
Okay, so Nespresso has these white chocolate and strawberry pods right now. Delish. Like it is pretty sweet, but it also actually tastes like strawberry. My sister always makes fun of me because I love like a blueberry coffee.
Blueberry coffee is amazing.
So good. She's like, that's horrendous. But I'm like, no, it's actually so good. And so strawberry, I've never had that before I bought these pods, and it is delish. So anyone out there with an espresso, you have to try it. Just get one of the sleeves. That's all you need.
I know. I'm hoping to get an espresso when I move because my friend had one when I was in San Diego a few years ago and I was literally like, this changes everything.
Yeah.
They're great.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal. But to just kind of dive into the whole actual espresso part of our brands. Podcast Cafe and Employee to Boss, 2 podcasts. Holy crap. What is the difference between the both of them? How'd you come up with the names? Let's just go.
Yeah. So I think we have to back up a little bit to where I started my business because that was what led to Employee to Boss and then eventually Podcast Cafe. So I started my business when I moved up to Seattle. I'm from Las Vegas originally and had a podcast in college with a friend. I know we'll get into that whole story, but when I started my business, I never really intended to start it. It just one thing happened after another and suddenly I was a business owner, which was crazy.
That is.
And when I moved to Seattle, I only knew 2 people in the entire city, the whole state actually, and none of them were online and none of them were entrepreneurs. So I was really looking to Instagram and like different resources to connect with more business owners. So since I was helping people with podcasting and I had this past podcast, I was like, okay, I need to start one for my business. But since I was just getting started, I just wanted it for networking. Like truly, that's all I wanted it. If I didn't make a single dollar from that podcast, I would have been happy because I was interviewing like 4 entrepreneurs a month and building my network from there. So this was back when like Facebook groups were big. So I was building a Facebook group along the side as well as starting to do some Instagram marketing. So Employee to Boss was truly just a networking podcast for me. And I still do it to this day. It's been, I don't know, 4 years now. And I interview people about their journey from employee to boss, obviously,
I love
as the name says. And then in November of 2024, I got to the point where I really wanted to talk to more podcasters and start coaching more podcasters, doing more consulting. So I've done production and I offer consulting to like all of my clients throughout, ever since I started. We could talk more about that too. But really, I wanted to be seen as more of like a podcast consulting authority. So that's why I started Podcast Cafe with more of an intention for business growth, whereas, Employee to Boss was just networking. So I do the 2 still. I do 2 Employee to Boss episodes a month, and then I do 8 Podcast Cafe episodes a month. Lots of podcasts.
Wow. I'm over here with my 1 a week that I'm like, I miss when I had seasons. And you're just over here like, I have 2 and one of them is twice a week.
Well, I mean, it is my whole business, so it's kind of like my main marketing tool. Instagram obviously is a great lead gen source too, but I feel like my podcast is like the basis of everything that I do.
Absolutely. Where'd you come up with the name for Espresso Podcast Production?
Okay, so when I realized like, oh shit, I must be starting a business, I actually was working with a mindset coach. She was like the first investment I ever made early on in my business, and I was like, I don't know what to call it, like Haleigh podcast producer. Like, what do I call it?
It's so hard to come up with a name.
It's so hard, and so she was like, okay, you have till the end of this week. You're starting your Instagram. Like, just pick anything. She's like, for the love of God, just pick a name. So I was driving around Seattle. Like I said, I was new here at the time. I was like, there's coffee shops everywhere. And I thought that, I love coffee. And I thought that the play on words of like espresso, fast, all of that
Yep.
would be perfect for the name. So I get questions about it all the time, like, oh, do you only help coffee shops start podcasts? And like, no, I help all businesses, but I just love coffee. I have that conversation at least once a month with someone.
Oh my God. I cannot. Now, I know you had posted a reel, because obviously, unfortunately, in this day and age, social media is the second completely unpaid full-time job. Sometimes you get lucky and you hit the gold just right, but most of the time you are just literally like doing stupid dances on apps for nothing just to get people in the door. But you had said your business needs a podcast. Can we elaborate more on that one? Because I'm actually really curious as to what your take on that is and why.
Yeah, definitely. So every business needs a way to connect with their, clients more, whether that's just building up community or explaining what they do or becoming a better, like building up their brand. And podcasting is the best way to do that, in my opinion, because not only does it give you the authority because you're the one speaking to guests or hosting solo episodes, and there's really no other platform like podcasting where someone can come and listen to you for an hour, right? I mean, reels are so quick, stories are so quick, and like when you can grab someone's attention for a longer period of time, they trust you. And that's what business owners need. And then on top of that, just the content of repurposing is amazing. Again, there's nothing like podcasting. Like you can't start off with a blog and get a podcast episode. You can start off with a podcast episode, create a blog post from it. You can put it into some threads, like pull some quotes. You can, if you do video, you're able to cut reels and then repurpose it from there, make it into, like, I turn my podcast episodes into a newsletter every week.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. So like the amount of content you get from it is valuable. And for a lot of business owners I work with, they're busy, like they're really busy, and sitting down to record, like dances or whatever it is, it's not going to happen, but they can sit down for an hour, have a meaningful conversation, and then turn it into clips or whatever they need it for.
Yeah, exactly. And I just to clarify as well, like people that have made it big off of dancing on apps.
Yeah.
I give them all the credit in the world
Good
because
for
I
them,
can't.
yes.
But it's when that's not your thing that it's just like, I have to learn this viral dance that's only viral for the next 36 minutes. And then, it's really, it's really tough to keep up with those trends.
Yeah, it is.
So podcasters have been coming out and talking about how it's a lot of work. So how do you convince your business owners that are already busy as hell to add on a podcast that a lot of us small-time podcasters are like, it is a lot of work. You're not just getting on a mic and yap. So how do you take that and go, hey, it's a really good marketing tool. You need to have a podcast. And also, by the way, you're going to be putting just as much work into it. Or is that kind of where you come in and you're like, hey, I'll handle it?
Yeah. So everything I do is done for you. So for every business owner I work with, they do just get to sit down and yap and send it to me, and I do everything else. So I take care of the editing, everything in post-production, as well as the posting of it. And then I create marketing assets for them. So really the only place that they are involved is like, who do they want to talk to, which I help them with the strategy. They just have to sit down. I can't do that for them. That's all I can't do. And then in the promotion, I give them some tips on, like, I think that, the best part of podcasting is in post-production where it's actually live. And I think we talked about this when you were on my podcast, how a lot of business owners will, or like any podcaster, puts in so much effort until they press publish and then they're like, cool, it's out there. And I think that's so wrong, because that's where people actually can listen. And that's why you're doing it. You're doing it for people to listen.
Yeah.
So promoting it, I think, is a missing piece for a lot of podcasters. So really and it is because when you're DIYing the whole thing, it is a lot of work. Like, I'm the first to admit that.
Mhm.
It's a ton
Mhm.
of work.
Sure is.
So when you finally press publish, you're like, I'm done. That's not true.
That's yeah, that is my biggest like hurdle is remembering to not only post but post regularly.
Mhm.
Like I'll throw a reel out and then I'm like, okay, I'm done. And now I'm having to like take the clips and at least put them on my story every day. And you know,
Yeah.
I do a lot of observing what other podcasters are doing and then I'm like I don't want to do that, but that actually seems like a good idea. Let me try and like integrate that like the Holmes Room pod, he like posts multiple clips through the week. And I'm like, why am I not doing that?
Mhm.
And it's sometimes you have to literally like force yourself to do it
Yeah.
because it is, you hit publish and you're like, okay, the worst is over. And it's like, that's just the start
Yeah.
of promoting that week. It's a lot of work though.
Yeah. And I think also there's really unique ways that you can use it in like your other content. Like,
Exactly.
I interview my clients, I pull out the nice things they say about me and I add it to my testimonial page. Like, that's a great way for me because they're busy. I have sent them forms before,
Yep.
like, please give me a testimonial. And they're like, I even once offered, I was like, I'll buy you a coffee. Just fill out this form. And they were like, yep, totally we'll do this. And it's not that they don't have good things to say, it's just that they're busy. And like, that's going to be
We
the bottom of
forget
their
if we don't
list.
do it.
Right.
Yeah. If we don't do it right that second,
Yeah.
it's not happening for another 3 months.
Exactly. Which I never like. I'm like, you know, all is good. They still pay me. They're
Right.
happy. I'm like, I'll live. But what I did was I invited all of them on, and you know, I interview them about their podcast, their expertise, whatever it is, and then at the end, I'm like, so what? Like, tell me about your experience working with me. Then I pull that, put it on my testimonial page. So for businesses, there's a lot of things that you can do like that. I know some of my clients use their podcast episodes in like their courses or their weekly memberships. There's even a podcaster who wrote a book and she referenced some of her podcast episodes as like, if you want to hear more about this, like go listen to my podcast. And it's printed in her book. So
Yep.
there's a lot of ways to do the promotion that's not just posting on social media too.
1,000%. I mean, honestly, when I did my podcast episode about my disability, it was to kind of get in front of it because the bigger this gets, the more I'm not able to like, not that I wanted to hide it, but like it just wasn't something that I really talked about. So that was like my way of being like, okay, well, if you have questions, I answered them all on that 52-minute episode because I am so done answering questions at this point. Like I just am. So and like you said, it's a really great way to it's almost like when you were writing papers in college, you had to like cite your sources. It's kind of like that. Like, please refer to blah, blah, blah for the actual info.
Exactly. 100%.
College was so long ago for me.
I 100%. I mean, when you do your first episode, like your About Me episode, you can put that on your About You page on your website. Like, there's endless things that you can do. So, you know, back to why you said should businesses have it? Yes, for all of these reasons.
I think because podcasting seems so oversaturated, like everyone has a damn podcast. I think it's a little daunting for people, or they're just like, I don't even know what I'm going to be talking about. Like, what do you mean I need to have a podcast about? Pick a topic in your business that you love talking about or that you want to expand on more that you can't in a 15-second Instagram reel.
Yes, 100%.
You know, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these like clips and stuff, you're not getting all of it out there. And then people kind of keep scrolling and they have to have their phone open versus a podcast. You can literally black out your screen, walk away, and you're still listening to it.
Yeah.
So there's so many things that you can do. But what is your favorite part of post-production? Because you're one of the very rare people I've ever met that are like, I love post-production. I want to throw my laptop every time I have to edit. If there's something I have to edit out, case in point, my cat's rolling in and I'm like, I swear to God, if I have to edit this out, we're going to fight. I will square up with you in the driveway, buddy. But what is your favorite part of all of that post-production?
Yeah. So I actually do love the editing process. And I think part of it,
God bless you.
I don't mind it for my own podcast, but I also love it for my clients because like they all have interesting podcasts and I learn from them every single week. And I feel like I'm just learning the most random information from them because I work with all different industries. I'm like industry agnostic. So I work with someone in wine to someone in bridal to business to authors to mindset, everything. And I learn things from them every single week. So I would say that is probably my favorite. I don't mind the show notes. I like cutting clips. I like posting it. There's really nothing in the post production that I don't enjoy. I know, crazy.
Look, there has to be more of you because there are not enough. I'm sitting here like I hate my life whenever I have to like edit and run the clips and
hmm
you know, so how do you kind of protect yourself from burnout because you are doing a lot?
hmm Yeah, yeah. So back in December, so what, almost 7 months ago at
Yeah.
the time of recording, I was burnt out. I was like pulling my hair, like it was crazy. I know that the end of the year is always my busiest time because a lot of people want to start their podcast. And I had so many people come to me on November 1st and they're like, can we start January 1st? Like with the podcast. And I was like,
Excuse moi.
and I am a people pleaser, but I was like, no, we actually can't because, like, what about all these holidays? What about me wanting to spend time? What about you wanting to spend time with your family? It's like, what the heck? So that was really hard for me. And I got like 8 new clients in 1 month. And that for a solopreneur is kind of
Mhm.
a lot, especially for like a done for you sort of offer. So I said yes to them all, but I delayed some of their starts. And I got to the point where I realized, okay, I have to hire someone. Like, I have some control problems. I also have ADHD, so it's really hard to like explain what I do to someone else.
We're the same person.
Like control and ADHD, you know, I think they go
Yeah.
hand in hand. so
Mhm.
and so the thought of having to hire someone to explain things to and like take stuff off my plate sounded amazing, but then in theory also sounded terrifying. But I bit the bullet and I was like, okay, I'll hire someone and she does some of the production for me now. So I'm moving more out of like the editing role more into like the founder CEO role of my business, which is
Mhm.
fun. But I also recently got to the point where she freed up so much time for me. I had time to market. I maxed myself out again. I was like, are you joking?
Haleigh.
like, so you know, I have hired, I'm putting more work on her plate and she's like super excited about it. But it's just one of those things where it's kind of like a push and pull. But how I protect my time is I don't work on the weekends. If I am working late, I schedule all my emails to clients to go out at like 8 a.m. the next morning because I don't want them to know I'm working late. So I'm like,
Right, you don't want
yeah,
you don't want them to have access to you 24/7.
exactly. I don't give them, I mean, they have my phone number, but they know only to call me in emergencies. And like nothing in this industry is an emergency.
No. No.
So there's that. And I don't know, I'm very social, like I'm very extroverted. So honestly, I like going to networking events and I like being outside of my house and I like going to do things with my friends and all of these things. So if I stay home for a weekend, I'm more drained than like going out and having like a busy weekend. And I think it took I feel like so many people say that's not how it should work, but that's
No,
how it
you're an
works for me.
extrovert.
Yeah. So that's I had to realize
That's
that. Like if I sit home,
yeah.
have a chill sitting on the couch weekend, by Monday I'm like, "Oh my God."
Yeah. I'm I'm half and half. Like
Yeah.
I get recharged around my people,
Mhm.
not so much people in general.
Mm.
But was podcasting like strategy something like you always wanted to do? Because I know you're 28.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah, so podcasting's technically been around almost your entire life.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
which is crazy because I just like I only know that because Apple sent me a thing yesterday that was like for 20 years of podcasting. I'm like, oh my God, it's been around that long. But I realized I graduated in 2009 when it started like
Mm,
being a thing. And that was 16 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, that math tracks.
yeah.
But so has this always been something that you wanted to do or like some variation of it? Or was it when you were in college that you were like, no, this is absolutely 1,000% what I want to be doing?
Yeah, no, I had no idea this was even like a possibility, if I'm being
Mm-hmm.
honest. I was really shy all through middle school, high school, half of college, like really, really shy. And when I was in college, I kind of pushed myself to be more outgoing. And one of the things I did
Mm-hmm.
was I studied abroad, and I didn't know anyone going to the school I was going to in Prague. That's where I went. Like no one from my college went. Put in a place with random roommates. Like it was with a
Yeah.
program, but I had that moment where I was like, okay, if I want to actually have fun and be successful, well, not like successful, but like have fun here and not be like this weird, shy, awkward person, like I have to put myself out there. So
Right.
that's kind of what pushed me. And then after that, I mean, I could talk to a brick wall now. I don't know what changed, honestly. I think it was just putting myself out there. So no, I never, ever, ever would have thought that talking and being on video and like building a brand would be what I would be doing. When I was in college, still a little bit in my shy era, I had a friend who we were both in school for journalism, and then we were both working the same job at the city, and
Mm.
it was really boring. So all I did was listen to podcasts all day long.
Mm-hmm.
True crime. I thought I wanted to go more into writing, so I was listening to a lot of like freelance writing podcasts, um paranormal ones. Hate those now, but like listen to a bunch back then.
I don't get those, but yeah.
Yeah, and I was just listening to like everything. Being Boss was probably like the most impactful podcast at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So since I was listening to so many and I was in school for journalism, I said to my friend like, "We should start one." And she was like, "Okay." And then that's like how it started. So when
Yeah.
I left doing that podcast, I moved up to Seattle. Someone I knew reached out to me because she knew I had that podcast in the past and asked if I would do her editing. And long story short, she was like, "You're good at this. Like, do you want me to introduce
Mm-hmm.
you to people?" And that was how it became a business.
Yeah. And I mean, you're doing phenomenal from what I've seen.
Well, thank you.
So, speaking of like listening to podcasts, how has obviously you don't listen to the paranormal ones
Right.
anymore, but how has your podcast consumption changed since you're full time into podcasting? Are you one of, I feel like it's not the few. I feel like there's more. They're just not willing to admit it that just like don't listen to podcasts.
Hmm. Yeah. I have a client. She's like, "I never have listened to a podcast ever." And I was like, "Kim, go listen to one. Just one." And then she was like, "No." I was like, "Okay, whatever." But her podcast is great. She's good at it. But I
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, I used to love listening to them, and I definitely don't listen to as many anymore. I am very
Mhm.
picky about them, and I also think I'm picky about how they sound too, since this is what I focus on. So if something
Yeah.
annoys me, I'm like, I can't do this. So
Yeah.
I listen to like I love the podcast Make Shift Happen. That's a really good one.
I haven't heard of that one.
I love it. It's like business mixed
I'm
with
writing that
like
down.
growth and all of that, like personal growth.
And it's a play on words. I love
Yep,
it.
I love that. I love the podcast Feminine as Fuck by Monica Yates. She's the one whose book, she added the podcast episodes in her book. Of course, I love Diary of a CEO. He interviews some great people and he's like so inspiring. He has a podcasting team of like 70 people just for his podcast. Can you imagine?
Oh my God.
Um, what else do I like? Normal Gossip. I'm obsessed with that podcast. It's
Hmm.
comedy. Have you ever listened to it?
I haven't heard of it.
Okay, so it's like people write in stories of like family reunions or like, random co-ed soccer leagues.
Sign me
And
up.
like they tell a lot of queer stories on there too, it's just like so good. I absolutely love that podcast. I tell everyone about that. So I listen to that one a lot for like comedy relief, and then there's other business ones I listen to. But I think that those are the four that I like will actually take time out of my day to listen to.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. I feel like mine vary. Like I was really heavily into, and I still am, like the Sabrina Zohar show,
Mhm.
Emma's Too Much, and then Leo Skepi's podcast. I think it's Aware and Aggravated or something, or Aware and Aggravated, I'm pretty sure. But that's when I was like heavily going through a breakup and like trying to like rebuild my self-worth. And now that it's like up there, I listen, but I'm not like sitting there like it's my self-worth
Yeah.
Bible. But it's really because like I think that's the thing. I think podcasting consumption ebbs and flows based on where people are at in life.
Mhm. 100%.
And I think that's kind of the other challenge with podcasting is you have to kind of go with that flow
Yeah. No, that's a really good
while
point.
staying true to yourself.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
It's so hard.
It is hard. Like,
I love it, but it's hard.
yeah, I was training for a marathon and I was looking up a lot of running podcasts, like nutrition and like I
Mhm.
entered people always talk about runner's high. I experienced runner's rage almost every day. I was like, I hate this. And so I was like, is this like what normal like is everyone lying about runner's high? Okay, whatever. But I was
Yeah.
listening to a lot of podcasts about that. And so you're right. And now that I'm not running anymore, sworn it off for the near future, I don't listen to those anymore, you know?
Yeah. No, for sure. What is like your next big thing that you're really working on?
Mm. Okay, I love that question. I just launched something called the Espresso series, which is a limited series podcast. So I talk to a lot of business owners who want to have a podcast, but the thought of podcasting every single week sounds horrible to them. They're like, no, absolutely not. I launched this because I think, like I said, every business needs a podcast, but it doesn't have to be in their traditional weekly podcast platform or routine.
Mhm.
So, what it is 5 to 10 episodes curated for their business and their business initiatives. So, whether that is just educating people on what they do, whether that's like a hot take they have in the industry, maybe what makes them different from their competitors, it's a 10 episode series for that. So the thought here, which a lot of this happens, I haven't really seen people bring it to the business space really, because a lot of it is news or true crime. They do a lot of limited series and they're so
Yeah.
successful because people can just binge it and, you know, take from it what they will. So that's what I've been helping a lot of people with lately. I've been having like great conversations around it from everything from like a divorce lawyer to someone who does plastic surgery. It works for all
But we need
industries.
we need podcasts on that. Are you kidding me?
Exactly. And
That's amazing.
so it's so fun. And so that's what I've been really excited about lately.
Do you think podcasting, especially with businesses, is kind of like the new email newsletter in a way?
Yeah, I do. I do. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because with your newsletter, I feel like it's what you own, right? That's what people, I feel like
Mhm.
every time Instagram goes down, I get like 25 emails of like, that's why you need a newsletter. And it's true.
Yeah.
But podcasting, I feel like, yeah, it is that intimate place for you to connect with your audience. Yeah, that's a good analogy with it.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like we're so on the go now that actually sitting down, and that's why blogging is faded out. And
Mhm.
like I had gone from a blog to a
Right.
podcast. Because it was kind of like getting with the times, and it was also because it's just the way we consume things now. We don't have time to literally stop and read something. We're always on the go. We're always in the car. We're always this. We're always that. So I think with podcasting, it kind of works with the whole go, go, go that we're always doing at this point.
Exactly. Yeah, because I mean, while people are in the car, I hope they're not reading your blog. I
Yeah,
hope.
same. I'm just over here like, that's why. I'm like, I know that people are going to listen to it in the car. Like, you can't read it in the car
Yeah,
and like actually like glean anything off of it.
exactly. Exactly. And I mean, I always have this conversation with people of like, what even is a podcast anymore? Like, truly, because it started off when I started in 2018, it was just audio. No one had video.
Mm-hmm.
Then video came, and now it's like Diary of a CEO with a 70-person team doing like a TV movie level production, you know? It's so good, and it's really just changing. So, while yes, like the audio only platform still works for people like in their car, but you know, there's so much more you can do to for it now to be your whole brand on social media. And yeah, it's just there's a lot that you can do.
So if somebody's listening and they are just like, there's no way I can make a podcast out of what I do, what's your response to that?
I think there's always a way that you can make podcasting work for your business. I mean, I had a client who talked about her love for Australian Shepherds.
Wait,
Yes. Yes.
when we're done recording, I'm gonna need that information because I too have a massive unhealthy love for Australian Shepherds.
I mean, I had so much fun with that podcast, and it actually, like, you would be shocked how many people listened.
Yeah, because I swear to God, I will say this until like I don't have breath left in me.
Yeah.
Aussie owners
Yes.
are a literal different breed of pet parent. You don't see
Yes.
lab parents being like, you have an English lab? I also have an English
Right.
lab. Let me like compare and contrast and show photo. No, those are the Aussie parents are just as crazy as their dogs are. And I say that as an Aussie parent.
Yes. No, 100%.
So like,
They're so
of
cute.
course it did well.
It did so well. And she interviewed, so she was a dog trainer, and she would interview people about like past owners that she's, you know, trained their dogs, or even like farming dogs. She lived in like the middle of nowhere. I sent her a gift once, and it was like coordinates or something. I was like, hello.
Yep, that sounds about right. That sounds
Yes.
about right.
And so and I'm like a city girl, so I was like, how do I even ship to this? But figured it out. But she interviewed people about their dogs and like how the role that the dog plays like in their life. And this one man cried. Oh my God, I was crying. It was so, I mean, there is something for everyone. And I always think like a lot of people, I think, have to think about it, like maybe zoom out a little bit. If you do have a very niche service, great, but also you could interview people in different niches. I think it depends on what you do, but like I just had a injury law lawyer reach out to me and wanted to start a podcast, and he was like, okay, I just want to talk about like different things in the injury law space. And I was like, that I think will be boring, but like what if we pull in like local, I don't know, people you work with, like personal trainers, or not personal trainers, physical therapists or massage therapists, or yeah, like tell the stories like that you can tell of, you know, how the law case went. I don't think that it could be, I mean, it could be very educational, and I think that's what he like intended it to be, but it was like it
Yeah.
truly will be so much more impactful if you take it from a storytelling aspect, zoom out a little bit and see who you work with before and after you're done with the client, you know? And so, yeah, it doesn't have to be so black and white. Podcasting can be anything. I mean, one other story is I have a podcast episode going up today with someone who takes movies and dissects them minute by minute and creates like 30-minute episodes per minute of his favorite movies. You can do anything.
He'll never run out of episodes.
No, literally. He is like,
is he doing Lord of the Rings extended version? Because he might have to retire before he finishes
literally.
that.
No, but I was like, I don't know. I love hearing the different ways that people podcast, because there's no rules. There's no rules.
Yeah, there really isn't. What's been kind of your biggest surprise on how, because I know you talked about a couple of them, but what was a one where people came to you like for a podcast, you were like, haven't thought about that one.
I mean, I think the dog was probably takes the cake on this.
Yeah, that was so great. I'm looking around for my dog. I'm like, damn it, where is she? Like, usually she's under my desk or like over here in the office, but apparently she's decided to not be the main character today.
Yeah. So the dog takes the cake, but also like I've had people reach out to me. I had this couple reach out to me, and their daughter has a really, really unique, like really unresearched disability. And they know maybe like, I don't know how many other people, maybe 100 people in America that have the same situation with their child. And they wanted to start a podcast because they wanted to build that community, and they knew there were more people out there who needed, so similar to what you did, Heather, with, you know, being open about what was going on in your life. They wanted to do the same thing. And again, they didn't want to make money from it. They were like, I just want to put this out there. I want to talk about what, and they had resources, like they had money, they had ways to help their daughter, and a lot of families might not have that. So they wanted to create a resource where they share what they found has been helpful. And so yeah, I mean, everything from dogs to
Yeah.
I think they wanted to call it like unseen something. And yeah, just, I don't know. It could be fun, or it can be also really powerful for like the community. I hear your cat in the background. She has a lot to say.
The other main character in my life, Maximus over here, needs attention or something. But no, to like kind of bounce off of that, that's like the thing, especially when you have a really rare medical condition. Like my shit is like what, 200 cases worldwide, I think. It might be more now. But when when we first got diagnosed and all of that, like you would Google it and you wouldn't find anything. And it was Google.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, when you have like something rare like that, or like the doctors don't understand it, or you have medical trauma and stuff like that, you just want to be surrounded by people that are going through the same shit that you're going through, not only to like help them, but to help yourself. So I literally love that. I mean, I start, oh my goodness. So we're back. Max decided he wanted to be the main character and then decided he didn't want to, I don't know, whatever. But like I was saying, it's kind of why I started HME. Like I just wanted to build a community of people that didn't feel alone. So I love that we're taking podcasting and we are putting it in even the most like niche of spaces. And I love what you're doing because you're facilitating that, and it's incredibly powerful and incredibly like helpful because people don't know how to build communities. They really don't.
Yeah.
They don't know where to start.
And I say businesses like very loosely. Like I work with brands too. Like they're not a business. They have nothing to sell, but they're building a brand, right? And so yeah, I mean, that's what I love doing. Like I love helping not only like the business growth side, but also like the community growth side for these conversations that need to be had, and someone has to do it, right?
Exactly. So if somebody wants to start, I know there's probably 15 pieces of advice you and I could give and then some. But if somebody wants to start podcasting when it comes to their business or their brand or whatever, what's your one piece of advice besides call you?
Yeah.
Because obviously they should be calling you, but if they're going to attempt it on their own before they call you.
I have a podcast launch checklist for free that people can like go through the steps, but I would say, I mean, yes, you have to like figure out how to record. You have to figure out all of that. But I think the number one thing that people need to think of is, what is the bigger mission here and what will make you feel successful? Success could mean anything, right? I don't have 2 clients with the same podcast strategy. I don't have 2 clients with the same podcast goals, right? Because success looks different to each of them. So figure out what that success looks like to you. And remember, there's no rules. It could be anything. And then also think about who is the listener. Like, who actually do you want listening to the episodes? Because that's who you're creating content for.
1000%. You can't cater to everyone.
No.
I think a lot of us that have been doing it for a couple of years have realized that it's okay to have a demographic.
It is.
Mine is literally between the ages of 24 and 44. That's 70% of my demographic. That's who I'm catering to. I'm catering to the millennials that don't want to feel alone, or, you know, want to feel empowered about something, or, you know, want to know about different things that they can be doing, like what you're doing, or, you know, the different coaches that I have on and stuff like that, you know. So it is okay. I want to say Kevin Palmieri gave me this advice, or Alan, one of them from Next Level University, incredible people. But they said, if you are trying to cater to everyone, you're going to cater to no one. And that's basically what you were just saying. Figure out your listener, figure out who you actually want. And it's okay if they're people that are just like you.
Yeah, 100%. I have this conversation all the time where people are like, "Oh, I don't want to niche down too much. Like, I don't want to exclude people." And I'm like, but that's how you're gonna find the listeners who like actually care about what you have to say. That's where you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna find people where like they feel like you're talking to them. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
we want for podcasting. Yes, it is one to many. And yes, we don't know exactly who is on the other side listening, but you want to make sure that when you are talking to them, that you know who they are, even though you don't, but you know who they are.
Yep. So where can people find you?
Yeah.
Where can they get a hold of you? Where can they get that downloadable? Where can they do all the
Yeah.
things?
So my website is Espresso Podcast Production. If you go to espressopodcastproduction.com/checklist, that's where you can download that free podcast launch checklist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on Instagram. That's probably my main place. So that's also Espresso Podcast Production, if you're seeing a theme here. And the
Look, it's better to stay on theme.
exactly. And then my podcasts, Employee to Boss, that's great for any business owner who I interview all different industries on there. Like coming up on Monday, so it'll be live by the time that this is going to be live. I'm interviewing
Mm-hmm.
someone who works with the Vices brand, so sex toys, weed, and alcohol,
Oh,
and how she got started in that, which I feel like I have episodes like that. I also have like episodes on how to exit your corporate. So like everything is represented in Employee to
I
Boss.
love that.
And then for Podcast Cafe, every week I'm sharing an espresso shot episodes. This is 10 minutes of just podcast strategy. So it's great free resource for anyone who wants to start a podcast. And then I interview a podcaster. So Heather, your episode is coming up on there.
I know. I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
and so that's where I interview. It's insights for podcasters from podcasters. So lots of free resources. Obviously, if you want done for you services, that's what I do. That's like my bread and butter, podcast launches, editing, production, and strategy. But I have, like, you could come and learn from me for free and have a successful podcast if you want to DIY it.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love that. Haleigh, thank you so much for taking the time out for, explaining all of this stuff. This has been so much fun.
It has been. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah.